Hello and welcome back everyone. This is Dawn with another video for Honeybee. So today we're going to be making several quick easy cards, and the focus is all on those little dies or small dies that make a big impact. I love these sets that have a bunch of small dies that create everyday objects, whether it be florals or like here we have these holiday dies. I think that they are perfect for using and mixing and matching with your older supplies. We all love being able to bring new life to our stash, correct? So I've pulled out a couple dies here as an example. Now this is the Lovely Layers Front Porch Holiday Add-on, and this is filled with a bunch of great holiday imagery. You've got the snowman, the wreath, the tree, the lights, and this is meant to go with the Lovely Layers front porch. So you could turn your front porch into a holiday decorated front porch. But today we're going to be pairing it with something different. We're not going to use the front porch die. Another great die for this is the Christmas. This is the Christmas cart add-on, the Christmas market cart add-on. So it goes with that market cart die that Honeybee released some time ago, and each season they release a new one so that you can decorate the cart for a season. I love all of the images in here. They're going to be perfect for what I'm going to do today. And that is pair them with a large word. So here is another one. It's an oldie but goodie. This is the Joy Noel wreath from Honeybee. I love this die. So the letters, you get the letters here to spell Noel and to spell joy, and they're nice and large. But the scale is also perfect to pair with some of these other die images here in the two sets that I've pulled. And there's several other sets in the line that you could pair them with. So I picked a traditional Christmas color palette. I've die cut a bunch of the pieces from both of these sets and gone ahead and assembled everything. So I did all of this up front. So now I've got a nice little stash of things to pull from. And I can cut more things as needed as I'm designing. But for now, I've got enough to start designing and getting a feel for what I want to do. So I've done my little tree here. I did our little snowman. Now I held off on assembling his arms because, again, I'm going to be designing on the fly. And now I have the option to position his arms as needed, depending on the design that I come up with. I went ahead and did a couple of little wreaths, used the little berries to decorate it. And then I also did some of the holly and a couple of the other images. Now I did want to show you the little stocking. Oh, you guys, the little stocking is absolutely adorable. Look at the detail on this thing. Oh my goodness. I cannot even. I didn't end up using this on any of today's cards, but I did want to include and show you guys. The detail on that stocking is adorable. Additionally, I've also cut out our letters here in a couple of different colors that match the color scheme that I've settled on. Again, traditional colors. So here you can see we can spell out the word joy. This is nice and generously sized. An easy way to incorporate these into our typography here is to replace the O with something. It could be the snowman. Your mind's going to fill in the blank. It's going to say joy. But the wreath being round is perfect to replace it. Super simple, right? Now all we have to do is add a sentiment. And for all the cards today, I'm going to be using the Mini Messages Holiday Stamp Set. The Mini Messages series is a great series of stamp sets that they've released. They're all the same size and the same font, but each set has a different grouping of sentiments in it, and they all coordinate with the Mini Messages Banners die. Great series. I highly recommend you check that out. Now this is a little simple, so let's add some texture to the background. 3D embossing folders are perfect for this, but you could also use stamp, maybe a text stamp in the background, or just a little bit of ink blending. It's up to you. I like the actual physical dimension and texture that 3D embossing folders add. So I've grabbed the Kaleidoscope 3D embossing folder. I've given my paper a quick spritz with my Tim Holtz Distress Sprayer, both front and back, and now I'm going to run this through my Platinum 6. And here you can see all that beautiful dimension that 3D embossing folder adds. I've got a lot of sentiments here to choose from in that Mini Messages stamp set, so I'm going to go ahead and pick out the one that I want to use. Then we're going to heat emboss that on the same red cardstock that we used for the berries. So I've got my Mini Misty. I've treated my cardstock with my Rabbit Hole Designs powder tool. I'm going to stamp this in Versamark ink. Then we're going to apply white embossing powder. I'll knock off the excess and then melt that with my heat tool. Another great time saver would be to stamp out heat emboss, and then die cut a bunch of these at the same time. So then you could have a bunch of little different messages to choose from for each of your cards. So now I've got my little sentiment here all done. It's going to live right at the bottom here. And I've already skipped ahead to where I assembled everything. I just used foam tape to pop everything up. And there is our first card, all done. Nice, simple, and a little elegant. All right, moving on. Let's make another one. All right, this time, instead of removing the O, we're going to use the O and we're going to fill it with one of our elements. Now there are a lot of different options here. For instance, you could use the little Christmas tree. You could tuck that right into the O, and then you've got a nice, simple card. This wouldn't be the best color combo, but demonstration purposes, it works. Alternately, this little snowman. He is sized perfectly to sit inside of this O. Look how adorable that is. All right, so that's what I'm going to run with on this one. So I'm going to go ahead and take a little liquid adhesive and tack this into place. I like exactly where he's sitting, so I'll just lift up that O, apply a little liquid adhesive, and that'll hold my snowman in place while I build out the rest of this design. All right, also included in the set are some little arms here with the little gloves, the little mittens on them. Again, I've already assembled the arms and the mittens, but now I can decide where I want to put his arms, what I want him to be doing, right? I can have him holding things. I can have him just, reaching out like he wants to send you some holiday hugs. Options, again, endless. But I decided that I wanted him to hold the string of lights from the Christmas market cart add-on. I thought that that would look adorable. Now they have like a double loop of them here. I'm just going to trim it down because serendipitously, one of those little loops fits perfect between his hands. So I'm going to go ahead and glue that in place because I love it. It's a winner. And then I thought that it needed just a little something extra. So I'm going to take some of this greenery here and one of the bows, and I'm going to add that right down here at the bottom of the O. I think that this is absolutely adorable. Again, very, very simple. And because I pre-cut all of these pieces and I have them to just kind of play around with, I'm more apt to try different things than if I had to stop and die cut new pieces. So I like to have a little stash of pieces already cut, and then I have more creative freedom. All right, so originally I was going to use this light green background, but I decided that there wasn't quite enough contrast between the white and the green. They were just a little too close in color. So I swapped it out for some craft, and I like this much better. Now, while I'm at it, I can also play around with my layout. So before I commit, I'm going to go ahead and try this in portrait and see if it's got enough room here for my letters. I could if I kind of squish them together a little bit, and it does. This is a little more playful, so I could work with that. I've also created a couple extra sentiments, so I can kind of take a peek here and see how it would look if I just added my sentiment at the bottom. And this could definitely work. Another option would be to stagger my joy. So I'm going to go ahead and rearrange my letters here. So still keeping it in portrait, but make my joy go more vertically up and down. And this could work as well. I just don't love it as much with this particular one. So I'll revisit it again for a later card. And that's awesome because playing with it here allowed me to work out the idea. So the next card will be super quick. All right, so we've gone back to landscape here, and that craft panel there, I've run it through the Fisker's paper crimper just to give it some texture and dimension back there. And then I will add my sentiment here at the bottom, just like in our previous card, and then adhere everything down. And just like before, I'll use foam tape to adhere everything, and then we will review all of the cards at the very end. Okay, so for the next card, I've got that green cardstock again, and this time I've used the wood grain 3D embossing folder just to give that one some texture in the back. All right, so I've got another joy here, and this time what I'm going to do is I'm going to accent my letters with some florals and some greenery. Yes, it wouldn't be a Dawn card if there weren't florals and greenery, right? So this one is no shocker to anybody, but these are perfect for accenting these letters, especially when you have these large fonts like this one here. So I'm just going to take some of this greenery here. These are from the market cart add-on, the Christmas market cart add-on. And Yeah, both of them. Both of them. So this greenery and the holly are both from the Christmas cart add-on. And I'm just going to decorate my letters with a little bit of the greenery and holly. Super easy. Look at that. Awesome. Okay, so I'm going to adhere all of my greenery to the letters. That way I'm not stuck with this particular layout because, again, I'm experimenting. Don't know exactly what I want to do yet, but we're going to go ahead and glue all of the greenery to the letters themselves, and now we can play around with our placement. And for that, we're going to revisit the layout from our last card. So that triggered the idea that I did like the placement, but I didn't like it for that card, but for this card, I love it. All right, again, we're going to adhere everything into place using some foam tape, and then all I have to do is add my sentiment. I decided to use this little Be Merry flag here. We're going to tuck it in the O, but spoiler alert, I do end up changing this sentiment placement and actually what color it's on. So make sure you watch to the end where we review all the cards, and you'll be able to see that little change that I made. But again, this little idea of placement of the sentiment works great with our next card. So let's go ahead and take a look at that one. All right, so for this one, I'm using a white panel, and I've 3D embossed that with the linen embossing folder. Love the texture on this. Again, we're going to use the red joy. And this time, instead of replacing the center or decorating the letters, they're going to be the backdrop for a little scene that we're going to create. This is also a great way to incorporate these large font sentiments into your card. They don't always have to be the main focal point. They're also great for using as backgrounds. So I'm just going to use some of the things that I have left over here from the items that I've already cut and assembled. We're going to kind of play around and see what we want to do. There's a lot of different options here. I could have my little snowman peeking from behind the joy. I could take these extra string of lights and hang it either from the top or the bottom. Like this is really cute. I'm going to try a couple of different things here. I could have the snowman holding the lights and stretching them across the joy. So if I put his arms in place, you could have his right hand holding one side and then have the string of lights tied up on the other. That would look really cute. So I'm going to put these arms in place just to show you what I'm talking about here. So it would be his left hand. I could put the lights in his left hand and then have it stretch across. And then I could put bows at each point, or I could put holly at each point. So this is another really cute idea. I don't end up using this one in the end, but I thought I would show it as an option because I thought that that was adorable. Ultimately, I decided, like I said, to use the joy as the background. So I'm going to bring that snowman to the front. And then I'm also going to bring that tree to the front. I just love this little tree and I wanted to use it. So it's working its way in. But I mean, looking back on this, I really liked him stretching the lights across the joy too. I thought that was really adorable. So again, I could put the lights in his arms, or I can put the lights across the back of the joy or the bottom. In this case, I decide to go with the top. Again, it's one of those cases where serendipitously it stretches from one side to the other perfectly. And then I need to kind of anchor those attachment points there. So the way the lights are done, it looks like they would be connected at the end, in the middle, and at the other end. At one end, the middle, and the other end. So in the set, you've got these great little bows. So those are perfect to add on. Now, I do end up swapping them out for gold. I just felt like the gold bows would tie in the gold pot on our tree, and I had already made the tree, so I knew I was going to be using the gold. All right, so we've got our bows in place, and I felt like they could use a little bit of greenery. I wanted to repeat some of that bright green there, so I've cut down some of those pieces of, those little pieces of foliage, and then I can tuck them on either side of the bow. I felt like using them whole was just a little bit too much, but by just cutting off a little piece and gluing them on either side of the bow, I felt like this was perfect. You can also see there that I went ahead and used that Be Merry, that little flag there in the middle of the O. All right, so let's take a look at all of the finished cards. And I'm really happy with how these turned out. And because I had all of the pieces cut and assembled beforehand, it was actually quite fun and quick to put together these little cards. So here you go. There's the first one we did. We went over this one in pretty much detail, so just a quick little reminder of that one. Here is the second card that we did, and here I added a little Spectrum Noir glitter pen over the lights there just to give them a little twinkle. And I love this one too. It has a nice kind of rustic, but not too rustic, homespun maybe. A nice traditional homespun card. So here is the vertical, the portrait card. This one's just a little bit fancier. Here you can see I changed out that Be Merry. I actually heat embossed that in white onto some brushed gold cardstock and then added some gold pearls here in the background. Love this one, just a little bit more elegant. And crazy that all these were made in the same session, you guys, because we kind of have a lot of different styles here, which I enjoy because I can never make up my mind which way I want to go. So, and then here finally, another little traditional, almost homespun look to this one. Again, we added that that glitter pen to our lights there, and then a little bit of clear embossing powder over them as well, just to give them a little bit of shine. Now you could continue to add a little extra here and there on all of these cards, a little glitter, a little snow, whatever you wanted to do. I just wanted to keep these pretty simple, pretty clean. I hope that you enjoyed today's video. If you're looking for any of the supplies used, don't forget to check the description box below. And if you have any questions, leave it in the comments below. As always, I want to thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you in the next video. Bye.